High within the Andes Mountains of Peru, where ancient villages cling to the steep hillsides and winding roads of the dramatic valleys, a conflict emerged that would change the nation forever. For many travelers today, Peru is known for Machu Picchu, its vibrant culture, and its breathtaking landscapes. Yet, during the 1980s and early 1900s, parts of this beautiful country became the center of Latin America's most violent insurgencies. This is the story of the Shining Path. In the 1970s, Peru was a country of stark contradictions. While the capital city, Lima, continued to grow and modernize, many rural communities in the Andes remained isolated and impoverished. Access to education, healthcare, economic opportunities was limited, and many people felt forgotten by the government. One of the poorest regions was Ayacucho, a mountainous department in southern Peru. It was here that a philosophy professor named Abimael Guzmán began spreading a radical revolutionary ideology inspired by Maoist communism. Guzmán believed that Peru's political system was corrupt and that only a violent revolution could create a new society. His followers became known as Sendero Luminoso, or the Shining Path. The movement officially launched its rebellion in May 1980. While Peru celebrated its return to democratic elections after years of military rule, members of the Shining Path burned ballot boxes in the small town of Chusi in Ayacucho. At the time, few people realized the significance of this act. What appeared to be a small protest soon became the opening chapter of a conflict that would spread across this nation. Over the following years, the Shining Path expanded its influence through rural Peru. The group targeted police stations, government offices, local vendors, local leaders, and anyone considered an enemy of the revolution. Villages that resisted often faced brutal punishment. Fear began to spread through the Andes. For ordinary Peruvians living in the rural communities, daily life became increasingly dangerous. Many villages found themselves trapped between the insurgents and the government security forces. The Shining Path demanded loyalty and obedience. Those who refused could be threatened, attacked, or killed. Teachers, mayors, community leaders, and farmers were often targeted. At the same time, government forces launched counter-insurgency operations to stop the rebels. In some areas, innocent civilians were mistakenly accused of supporting the insurgency, leading to further violence and mistrust. Entire communities lived under constant fear. The conflict was especially devastating for the indigenous Quechua-speaking population in the Andes. Many people had little connection to the national politics, but became victims of war they never chose. By the late 1980s, the conflict had spread between the mountains, bombings, assassinations, and attacks that reached Peru's cities, including the capital of Lima. Electricity towers were destroyed, government buildings were attacked, car bombs exploded in urban neighborhoods, and the sense of insecurity grew across the country. For many Peruvians, it seemed as if though the state was losing control. The Shining Path had become one of the most powerful insurgent groups in Latin America, and its campaign of violence appeared unstoppable. Everything, however, changed in September 1992. After years of investigation, a special Peruvian intelligence unit tracked down Abimael Guzmán to a safe house in Lima. In a carefully planned operation, authorities arrested the elusive leader without firing a shot. The capture shocked the country. For years, Guzmán had portrayed himself as untouchable, a revolutionary leader. Seeing him in prison dealt a devastating blow to the movement's image and morale. Without its central leadership, the Shining Path began to fragment. Many members surrendered, while others retreated into remote regions of the country. The insurgency never fully recovered. The conflict left deep scars on Peru. According to Peru's Truth and Reconciliation Committee, approximately 7,000 people died or disappeared during these conflicts. Many victims were civilians. Entire villages were destroyed. Families were separated. Communities struggled to rebuild after years of violence. The war affected rural indigenous populations whose suffering often went unnoticed by the rest of the country. Today, Peru is a very different nation. Visitors travel to explore ancient Inca ruins, trek through the Andes, and experience the country's rich cultural traditions. Yet, the memory of this conflict remains. Museums, memorials, and survivor testimonies help preserve the stories of those who lived through these difficult years. For many Peruvians, the rise of the Shining Path is not simply about understanding history. It's about ensuring that such violence never happens again. The story of the Shining Path serves as a reminder of how inequality, isolation, and political extremism can fuel conflict. It also highlights the resilience of ordinary people who endured extraordinary hardship. Behind Peru's breathtaking mountains and ancient landscapes lies a history that is both tragic yet important. Understanding that history helps us appreciate not only the beauty of a country, but also the strength of the people who call it home. As travelers and wanderers, these stories remind us that every destination has layers of history beneath its surface. Sometimes, the most powerful journeys are not only across landscapes, but also through the events that shape them. As always, thanks again for listening, and please, wander always, but please, wander safely. Do not forget to like and subscribe.